Filipinos are seafarers of choice in the world. Filipino seafarers are most preferred to man ships and the most prepared. Highly skilled, professional, trainable, flexible, world-class. The story of the world-class Filipino seafarer begins even before he sets sail. This is one of the accredited seaman training centers in the Philippines. Their accreditation ensures that these centers are providing training up to par with world standards. This is just one way of safeguarding the quality of Filipino seafarers, a responsibility ably fulfilled by the Maritime Training Council. The Maritime Training Council, an attached agency to the Department of Labor and Employment, was created in May 1984 by virtue of Presidential Letter of Instruction, LOI number 1404, signed by President Ferdinand Marcos, for the purpose of giving full and complete effect to the provisions of the 1978 International Maritime Organization Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. By acceding to the convention, our country undertakes to promulgate laws, decrees, orders, and regulations pursuant to the requirements of the convention and its mission to safeguard life and property at sea and the protection of the marine environment. Further, to clearly define the Council's functions in accordance with the STCW Convention, Executive Order Number 242, Series of 2000, was issued, designating the MTC as the agency responsible for the implementation of the convention. The Council was given additional powers and responsibilities to ensure compliance to the amended convention. The Council is chaired by the Secretary of Labor and Employment, with members coming from the Maritime Industry Authority, Commission on Higher Education, Philippine Overseas Employment Administration, Professional Regulations Commission, Philippine Coast Guard, Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, Department of Health, National Telecommunications Commission, and the MTC Secretariat. Cognizant of the international relations of the Philippine government vis-a-vis the STCW Convention, the Office of the President and the Department of Foreign Affairs are also represented in the Council. Moreover, members from the private sector representing the workers and employers and the Association of Maritime Training Centers sit as members to the Council as they provide up-to-date information on the education and training needs of seafarers and current trends in the industry. The Philippines is a country included in the White List of the International Maritime Organization. The so-called IMO White List is a list of countries that have been found to be fully compliant to the provisions of the 1978 STCW Convention as amended. As such, the Philippines has been confirmed by the Maritime Safety Committee of the IMO as consistently giving full and complete effect to the convention. Specifically, the MTC exercises control over the accreditation, supervision, and monitoring of maritime training courses in the Philippines. The function is necessary to ensure that the delivery of mandatory training courses for seafarers conducted by authorized maritime training centers is in accordance with the prescribed standards of the convention. The MTC evaluates the capabilities of these training centers in terms of its instructors, equipment, teaching aids, and other requirements. If found compliant with all requirements, training centers are given accreditation with a validity of 3 years, after which applications for accreditations have to be renewed. MTC likewise conducts surprise inspections to its accredited training centers to ensure that standards are being implemented. At present, the training centers accredited by MTC are strategically located nationwide in order to provide easy access for the Filipino seafarers to undertake the STCW required courses. Likewise, the MTC established the National Assessment Center, tasked with the responsibility of assessing the competence of Filipino seafarers prior to the issuance of the required National Certificate of Proficiency that would qualify a seafarer for employment overseas. These COPs are issued pursuant to Chapters 5 and 6 of the Convention and covers the certificates for specialized trainings. A major policy issuance pertaining to the assessment system is the recognition of assessment being done by its accredited training centers. After the students have successfully completed their training and passed their assessment, the recognized training centers will submit a training completion and record of assessment report for the issuance of the corresponding certificate of proficiency. The MTC also ensures that certificates issued by the government to Filipino seafarers are recognized by other state parties. This is done by entering into bilateral agreements with other IMO member states pursuant to Regulation 110 of the STCW Convention. The said agreement provides the facility for other parties to recognize the certificates of Filipino seafarers and serves as a guidepost for port state control authorities in evaluating the validity of such certificates and documentary evidences. The MTC has facilitated the signing of agreements with countries that employ the most number of Filipino seafarers, like Japan, Norway, Liberia, Denmark, and Panama. The MTC established its official website at www.mtc.gov.ph, which contains the registry of all certificates issued to Filipino seafarers under the terms of the STCW Convention. It contains the list of deck and engine officers, ratings forming part of navigation and engine room watch, radio communication personnel, and certificates issued under Chapters 5 and 6 of the said convention. The Philippines, under Regulation 19 of the said convention, is required to ensure that information on the status of certificates, endorsements, and dispensations issued by the government are made available to other parties for the authenticity and validity of such certificates. The said website provides an effective way of verifying the authenticity of certificates, endorsements, and documentary evidence issued to all Filipino seafarers. The MTC today vigorously pursues its mandate. It continues to strengthen its coordinative efforts with other government agencies involved in the implementation of the STCW 95 Convention. Also, it continues to work closely with the private sector and international organizations so it can enhance its capacity to outfit the Filipino seafarer with knowledge and skills needed to sustain his reputation as the world's seafarers of choice. It also constantly pursues innovative processes and strategies to increase its capability to be of service to its primary customer, the Filipino seafarer. As a government agency, it adheres to the utmost practices of good governance, honesty, integrity, accountability, and transparency, fully cognizant that these values serve best the national interest. Most significantly, MTC serves as the catalyst leading quality maritime education and training, thus sustaining the country's position as the largest single country supplier of the world's seafarers of choice.